Kudash, 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 Adonai, Elohim, Sabayath, meaning holy, 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 Lord of hosts. Yah, He, Vah, He. Those four syllables could be said as a mantra. First, Yah, the Father who art in heaven, Abba. He, meaning the divine feminine, um, Mother Nature who art in the earth, you know. Va, meaning their creation, because in the beginning Elohim said, let us create them in our image. And Elohim is plural, means more than one. And the key words in that sentence in the book of Genesis, which means generations of Isis, but in Hebrew, the beginning means Bereshith, is us in our image. And Elohim being plural, more than one. Back to Hay, Anna Chokma, Mother Wisdom, and Spirits of the Wind, as a collective whole, creating the Tetragrammaton. As above, so below, the macro prosophist above and the micro prosophist below, because we are the microorganisms and the host of the Elohim. So right now I'm going to do kind of a part two on uh, mathematics, magneticism, magic, and miracles, and how they correlate. And we also going to go into the tree of life. This is right here is a tree of life. I'm in my son's room right now, so you might see Pokemon on the bed, but this is the tree of life, right? These are the Hebrew sephirots. We just hold this right here so you can see a little bit of what they say and what they mean. See how it says Tarot up there and it says 22 paths. There's 22 letters in the Hebrew alphabet. And I'm going to also kind of go into how the Hebrew alphabet, the Egyptian alphabet, and the Greek alphabet, they all correlate and they have the same numeral value. Remember we was talking about numerology and how mathematics correlate when you're dealing with magneticism. See the tree of life right here. You see you got up here, where the crown would be, you got Metatron, the crown. Right here, Chokma, will be, Chokma. That's why we say Anna Chokma, because Chokma represents wisdom. Raphael, which is the angel of healing. You have Benai, which is understanding. You have Gedula, which is justice and fear. And each one of these have an angel attached to them. And remember, I told you, angels are angles and entities are energies, but they are consciousness, Right here you have chassis, which means victory. Right here in the beginning, it's like reflecting a little funny. You have Raphael, Tiferet, which means beauty. Raphael is the angel of healing, which also correlates with the sun. That's why it's yellow. Up here, Chokma was Raziel. I don't know why I got that mixed up. Right here is Ha, glory and honor. Then you have Yesod, which deals with Gabriel and the foundation. You have Netzach, Hanai, El, which is victory, down to the Malkuth, which signifies the kingdom, with Sandalphon. And this angel also correlates with the 24 elders. Right here, you have your Hebrew alphabet in the numeral value. You see, as it says on here, the Hebrew alphabet, I'm going to break that down too, because we're going to go through it, La, Bayat, Gemal, Dalet, He, Va, Zan, Hayat, Tet, Yad, Kaf, Lamed, Meme, Nun, Semeth, Ayin, Pei, Tezadeh, Quaf, Resh, Shin, Ta. I know this alphabet by heart, but right here, it has numeral values on there and certain symbology of what it means. So today, over here, you have the Yah, He, Vah, He, and how it breaks down the world of emanation at Zilluth, fire, lion, sight, architectural, which is, architect of the universe, the Father who art in heaven, which is Abba. World of creation, Briar, water, eagle, hearing, patterns. Patterns. You see all of these are patterns that all correlate. Something like, ley line, energy fields, Everything in creation is all connected and it all has something that correlates with it. Right here, back to Va, which would be world of formation, yet Zura, which is deals with air, man, smell, and activity. Back to Hague would be world of substance, Asaya, earth, bull, touch, form. Hey, Mother Nature. Mother Nature would deal with the earth, touch, form, physicality, and the nature of things. Right here, this goes with what breaks down all the chakras, but energy field attributes and emotions that correlate with the body, because when we feel certain energies, which we start to feel a certain emotion, and each one of our emotions based upon how we feel, leads to thoughts, and every thoughts come from mentalism. Mentalism is how we materialize things on a physical plane, because every thought leads to an action. This is the tree of life. This shows you how God is in you and how these things work through you. So right now we're going to jump right into this book. And you see how right here, the same total degrees of a circle would be 360 perimeter. You see this sign right here? Don't it look familiar, right? Diameter, area. What's the same sign right here? But that's not where we're going to end at, because watch how this all comes together and how I break it down, because I have my spiritual eye open. You see right here the square, total degrees, 360. What does 3 and 6 make? 9. What do you see? A cross right here, even in the circle. You got a line across, a line going down. It all signifies the cross, and which is going to take us back to a specific name at the end of this chapter that's going to break down the cross. So here we go. We're going to jump right into it. This book has been titled Supreme Mathematics, African Mayat Magic, as a representation of how information presented in this book attempts to metaphorically square the circle. The term Supreme Mathematics sounds rather objective and scientific, however, as it is discussed later is rather subjective, esoteric. Esoteric means eternal essence, your inward parts, your spirituality, and subjective. Conversely, African Mayat magic as a term sounds rather subjective, esoteric, however, as it is discussed later, is very objective and scientific, just like the fields of mathematics, science, and engineering. Remember in the last video, I showed you how these things all correlate, All right. It says the purpose of this book, entitled 9 to the Ninth Power of the Nine, Supreme Mathematics, African Mayat Magic, is as follows: to show the fact that mathematics is of African origin, to show relationship between African mathematical objects, terms, and concepts to modern mathematical objects, terms, and concepts, to show how African mathematical methods can be used to solve certain problems not easily solved by modern mathematical methods, to show the importance that ancient Africans placed on mathematics to solve all problems, establish truth and order, Mayat, and apply knowledge to create, develop, and engineer any and all systems and technology needed for survival and well-being. This book and other books written and published by the coin term African Creation Energy are introductory educational tools for a long-term goal and mission of growing, cultivating, nurturing, encouraging, supporting, advancing, and promoting African creativity, inventiveness, and ingenuity for the purpose of developing, engineering, forming, formulating, innovating, inventing, designing, building, creating any material, structure, machine, devices, systems, and processes needed for the survival and well-being by African people for African people. With that said, the importance of mathematics is illustrated, described, and emphasized in this book. However, this book does not teach mathematics or mathematical concepts. There are numerous books that serve that purpose, but rather shares and provides motivation, inspiration, and insight into the relationship between modern mathematics technology to ancient African mathematics and technology. All right, let's get right into it. The African origin of mathematics, the metaphors. The Greek word mathema, as we learned in the last lessons, means thought. And the word mathematics is also related to the word Matthias, meaning thought, that can be found in the name of the Greek deity Prometheus, meaning forethought. In Greek mythology, Prometheus was the son of Themis, Greek deity called Lady of Justice. Prometheus stole fire from Zeus and gave it to humanity. Prometheus is comparable to another character in the Greek mythology called Hermes, who was considered the inventor of fire, the messenger of Greek deities, and Greek deity of wisdom, writing, and invention. The fire in the Greek mythology story that Hermes invented and Prometheus stole from Zeus to give to humanity is symbolic. So just to show you right here, let's pause right there. This will show you in each one of these stories, just like the Bible is written in allegories, parables, figurative language, and metaphors. This is how all of these took a piece from the original source to make these texts and fit them into their culture. So this is what it's about to show you this right here too as well. Hermes invented Prometheus stole fire from Zeus to give to humanity is symbolic of knowledge, because if mathema means thought or to think, that's and tick comes from the word techne, which means technique. It basically thought-provoking techniques of thinking, knowledge or information which humanity acquires by thinking and learning. The fire of knowledge could be used in either a constructive or destructive manner. So remember, I told you, magneticism is basically you get what you dish, what you gravitate into yourself, Mathematics means just basically your internal essence, your thoughts, which come from your spirit, and using techniques, using that mentalism and materializing those thoughts on the physical plane by turning those thoughts into actions, the truth is way stranger than fiction, but it's stuff that you do every day, but you don't realize you're doing it, or based upon the word and title and how you perceive it, is how you frown upon it or shun upon it negatively or positively. But just like this said, could be used in either a constructive or destructive way. So that means based upon your intent, you can use it in a good way or you can use it in a bad way. This is duality in everything. Just like you have people that do dark crafts and arts and magneticism, to get a desired effect, just like people, the counterbalance, they use it in a righteous purpose and rightful thinking, as you've seen with all the patriarchs and matriarchs throughout the Bible. Just like the Most High said, it's a time for peace and it's a time for war. So when it's a time for war, everything is up for grabs, whatever you got to do, just like the story of the Israelites and their sister Diana that I told you about before. This fire, for all intents and purposes, is mathematics, the human thought process. And as I wrote right here, magic, what you conjure up from mathema. Magneticism, what you gravitate to yourself from your intent. The same principles found in the Prometheus stills fire story can be found in the biblical Genesis story of the serpent, who is equated with Lucifer, the light or torchbearer. In the Garden of Eden, who convinced Adam and Eve to eat from the tree of knowledge, which God attempted to keep from humanity. Another story which parallels the Prometheus story about humanity acquisition of fire knowledge is the story of Obasi Osa. Now you see this word Obasi, if you cut this part off, you get Abba. But look what they're gonna break down what this word means. Of Obasi Osa amongst the Efik people in Niger and Nigeria in Africa. According to the Ekoi's story, Obasi Osa, also spelled Obasi. You see, this one was an O. This one is with a A. So this is where you get the Abba at. O-B-A, Abba, A-B-A, Abasi, the sky god and creator deity. Remember I said, Yah-He-Vah-He. Yah signifies the Father who art in heaven, the creator, the architect of the universe. But this shows you how these things parallel to each other and how they correlate with each other. The sky god and creator deity chose not to give fire to the first humans he created. One day, a young boy was able to steal fire from Abasai Aswa and bring it back to humanity. Hold on, guys. I gotta do something real quick. Yeah, I had to go tell them to be quiet because I don't know why. I just try to remove myself away from them, and everybody just comes up to where I'm at to make more noise. Like, I have this problem every time I'm making a video, like, for some reason. But let's get back to it because I'm trying to concentrate as I'm saying it, but it's always a distraction. One day, a young boy was able to steal fire from Obasi Oswa and bring it back to humanity. Both the biblical story and the Greek story was modeled after the African stories, which predated them. The Greek deities Prometheus and Hermes in particular were modeled after the African Egyptian deity Tehuti. Tehuti, also called Dejhuti, Zehuti, or Thoth, was the Egyptian god of wisdom, writings, magic, science, math, and measuring time. Now, I wrote right here, science, the cycles of nature. Tehuti was the lunar deity and often depicted as a man with the head of an ebrius bird or as a baboon. So, lunar deity would mean celestial cycles, watching the consistencies and patterns above and below, Nature would be below and the celestial would be above. In Egyptian mythology, Tehuti was the husband of Mayat, the Egyptian goddess of truth, justice, order, and divine wisdom. So remember I told y'all, wisdom. See, even when we break it down and the tree of life and the Godhead, it comes back to Anachokma, divine wisdom. And remember, I told you the left pillar signifies justice. So in all of these cultures, it's referring to the same thing, you know? So if you just open your spiritual eye and see this, they're using all of these as a metaphor for an eternal essence within them, you know? So, all right, my flash went off now. So, all right. Tahuti was responsible for transforming the creative will of Ra, the Egyptian sun god, into action. Tahuti was associated with philosophical concepts of the logos, meaning word or sayings, you know. That's what we would call quotes today, like life quotes, in action and work, which is derived from the word let go, meaning to count or to speak, you know. Logo, logos also is used to indicate logic or reason, purpose, and hypotheses for speaking. All of this is to show that the origin of the word mathematics comes from the African deity Tahuti. So now let's break this down based upon the Hebrew, you know, numeral value. So we will get Te would be Tet. Tet would be what number on here? Tet would be number 9, right? So that's where we get Tet, would be serpent. And then what did they tell you in here? Serpent means knowledge. You know, so you got number 9, Tet. Then you get who. Who would come from the word hey, the H sound. Hey on this chart would be what we get right here. Wisdom. Wisdom. What was it just saying up here about wisdom? So that's what I'm telling you. The numeral value in Hebrew, Greek, and Egyptian, you know, alphabets have the same numeral value because they all correlate with each other. And they all took a piece from each other, you know. And it all came from the original source, you know, the original source of knowledge. Every culture branched off to use these as their metaphors, you know. So now let's breaking it down. Remember, we got Tet from Tahuti. T would be number 9. You would get Hey on the Hebrew chart would be, you know, and 9 that would be the serpent, and the serpent signifies knowledge. Hey would be number 5, which signifies wisdom. And then T would be Tav, which would be 22 on the Hebrew chart. And what does Tav say it is? It says sign of the cross. Now let's add this all up. 9 and 5, we're going to get 14. 14 on to 22, what do we get? We get 36. When you put 3 and 6 together, what do you get? 9. So 3 and 6 make 9. And what did Tav say? Remember this word. It said deity Tahuti. So you get Tet of the Hebrew alphabet. Then you get Hu for Hey. And then you get Ta for Tav. Tav is 22. Hey is 5. And Tet is 9. You add it all together, you get 36. 3 and 6 mean 9. And what does Tav say on the Hebrew chart? It says sign of the cross. Now let's go back to where we started off in this book. The numeral value. What do you got right here? 360 degrees will be 36. If you take off the O, you got a cross. And now we're correlating this with the tree of life knowledge. And see how it all synchronized together in words, how they have power. Once you know the numeral value of words, just like your name today, your birthday, your time, your measure, it all has its consistency and pattern, and it has its purpose. Your name has a purpose. That you was born has a purpose. You know, the year, the time, the season you're in nature. You know, the constellations, how they align and they go in conjunction, and the time, place, and measure. You know, the time, space, and matter you're in. And even over here, when you go into the circle, you get the cross. That's why when you see certain symbols like this, the tetragrammaton, you see the Metatron's cube, or you see these circles with triangles in them. All they are is math equations, thoughts, written out into equations, just like you see right here. It says the perimeter equals, what does that look like right there? Let's go back to the tree of life chart. Bang. Hey, what is hey? Wisdom. Wisdom. Over here, chokma. Wisdom. So you get that hey as wisdom in the Yah hey ba hey. And now when we go back to over here to Tahuti. What is Tahuti? The numeral value to Tahuti will come from, when you break it down in Hebrew, you get Tet would be number 9, Hey would be number 5, Hu, and T would be Ta. When you add these all together, you get 36. 3 and 6 makes 9. And it says right here on this Hebrew chart, it says that Tav, the sign of the cross. Then when you go back over here to this math equation, you get a cross. And then they give you this symbol, the perimeter, diameter, area, equals, radius. So now you can see that all of these are metaphors, to esoterically show you what's already inside of you. That's why every culture presented them in their own way. All right, I'm out of here. Salah. Like, share, and subscribe. Comment if you got anything out of this video. As I was doing this video, I was being distracted, because there was a lot of noise in the background. So I couldn't really go into details because I was getting irritated by the noise. But, I presented it the best I could because I went over this before I even did this video to, make as much sense out of it, I even added up all the equations and numbers because everything I read, it has some type of purpose in it, You just got to know how to use your spiritual eye to break these things down, And just like I wrote down here, numeral value, Hebrew, Greek, and Egypt. And if you go look at all of their alphabets and charts, all of their numeral values are the same. Salah, so be it. I'm out.